Okay guys, let's draft this summer dress. So the first thing we're going to do is to start with the top part, and I am going to mark a straight line across the pattern paper as I am doing. And then I am going to be placing the shoulder or half of the shoulder measurement on that line, which is 5.5 for me. And the next thing is I'm going to be placing my armhole round, which is going to be 5 inches also. And then I'm going to connect all the points together. The next thing I'm going to mark shoulder to waist, which is 8 inches plus half an inch for seam allowance. So I'm going to mark a straight line across the pattern paper. And then once I am done, I am going to place my chest round measurement, which is quarter of the chest round measurement plus 1 inch for seam allowance. And then once I am done, I am going to mark my pattern, which is waist, and the other line is chest. So we are going to determine the width of the neck width, which is 2.5 inches. We might not need this measurement, but either way we're going to place it. And then I'm going to go down by half an inch right there on the armhole line, and then connect the 2 points to create a shoulder slope. And then the next thing, I'm going to find the midway of the armhole and create a marking there, and also find the midpoint of the shoulder slope and create a marking there. And then the next thing, I'm going to extend that line that I've marked on the armhole as you see on the video. And also what I'm going to do is go out by 1 inch on the chest line. And then once I am done, I am going to extend that line of the shoulder slope to the new line of the armhole. And then I'm going to create a nice curve for the armhole round. And we're not going to make use of the top part. We're just going to take it out. So we're just going to be left with the one at the bottom. So now it's time for us to cut out the pattern. But before we do so, I forgot to add that, guys. Don't forget to add your half an inch seam allowance right on top. And that's it. So don't forget to add half an inch seam allowance before you cut out your pattern. So the next thing for us, guys, is to mark our pattern, and we are going to cut out the first piece of the pattern or on the fabric on fold. And I'm going to show you on the fabric now. I am going to first place 1 inch on the fabric, and then once I place this 1 inch is going to be for the zip. We're going to attach the zip at the back, and when you place your pattern, you're going to place your pattern after that line that we have marked. For the other side, or for the other piece of the pattern, we will need to cut it right on fold, and this is going to be for the front. So once you're done, this is how our pieces should look, the front and 2 back pieces. Now, cutting out our bottom part of the dress, we will need to first measure the waist round of our piece or our top, and then as you can see that it's 21, and then 21 times 2, so you need to take your full waist round measurement times 2, and then I'm going to cut that on fabric. So once we're done, I am going to actually mark, which is the fabric, which is 21 times 2, which is there's another fabric at the bottom, and now you need to determine the length of the dress that you want, and for me it's going to be 20 inches. Unfortunately here, guys, you couldn't see what I was doing because my camera couldn't capture it, but the length of the skirt is going to be 18 inches. Sorry, not 21 but 18 inches. So now I am going to join the two pieces of the top, which is going to be 1 inch seam allowance, the one that we have left out on the pattern paper, remember, when you're drafting. So I'm going to be using 1 inch seam allowance to join both pieces of the top. Working on the bottom part of the dress, I'm going to take the skirt and I'm going to mark or sew 2 straight lines, and we're going to gather the skirt. So I'm going to sew 2 straight lines, and I am going to gather the skirt. As you can see, I have done it, and now it's time for me to just pull 2 strings and just pull them. So once I have gathered the bottom part of the dress, it's time for me to join the 2 pieces together, and I'm going to go ahead and sew 1/2 inch seam allowance to join the 2 parts, the bottom part and the top part of the dress. As we are done sewing a straight stitch, so the next thing that we need to do is to attach the zip at the back, and as you can see, this is how your dress will look so far. So I am going to attach the 2 parts of the back, and I am going to make sure that I am matching the side seams together, and then I'm going to mark 1 inch that I have left out for the zipper allowance. So you need to mark that 1 inch. So now you need to determine where you want your zipper to end. So I am going to make a marking right there on the dress, and then I'm going to take it to the sewing machine. From the bottom to that marking, I am going to sew a regular stitch, and then from the marking up to where I want the zip to be, I am going to sew with the long stitch. I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say, because the reason why we have to use the longest stitch from where we actually going to place the zip is because I am going to unstitch it later as soon as I have attached the zip. But you're going to see what I'm saying once we sew the zipper on the dress. So now you need to open up the seam and place the zip right side facing. The teeth should be facing the seam, as you can see that I am doing, and I'm going to pin the zip on the inside of the dress, as you can see, so that it can sit nicely as I'm going to be sewing it. So I'm just showing you guys here that to make sure that the zipper teeth are facing the seam in the middle. So guys, once we have pinned it, we are going to go ahead and sew it on the sides. I am going to be using my zipper foot, not a regular foot but a zipper foot, and as you sew, you want to make sure that you sew at least closer to the teeth, not on the teeth but closer to the teeth. And as you can see that I'm placing my finger just to feel if I am not sewing on the zipper teeth. So guys, this is how it looks once we have attached the zipper on the outside. I really love how it came out. So the next thing that we need to do is to just remove the stitch and pick the stitches that we have made. So this is the reason why I was saying you can make a longer stitch right where you're going to place the zipper, and it looks so beautiful guys. I'm so in love with it. So now we need to create a bias tape. I'm gonna post a video on how to actually do the bias, because this video was not really focusing on how to create one, but I'm going to create a bias for the strips, and the strips are going to be 20 inches long. Are going to be 1 inch, but I later regretted it because they were so thin. So I would suggest if you make them 2 inches or 1.5 inch. Now the other thing we need to do is to fold the top part. We need to fold it 1/2 inch, the same half seam allowance that we have left on our pattern. We need to fold it right on top on our dress. Okay guys, the next thing that is left to us is to attach the strip around the armhole. So I'm going to take one of the bias that I made, and I'm going to create a notch in the middle. And once I am done creating a notch, I'm going to face it on the seam, and we're going to make sure that the bias is the right side facing the wrong side on the inside of the dress. And I am going to sew a 1/2 inch seam allowance around the armhole round. And once I am done, don't forget to create your notches, because we were sewing around the armhole, and this is going to help for the armhole to be nice, you know, and straight. So the next thing that we need to do is to fold the bias in half so that we can hide out all those seams. So we're going to hide all the seams inside that bias that we've made or we've sewn. And once you have created the folding, just to hide out the seams, don't forget to extend the folding to the rest of the strap. So this is how it will look as soon as we fold it. We are going to go ahead to our sewing machine and sew it all around, and then once you are done, this is how it all looks. As you can see, it looks so nice. So you need to do the same thing to the other side of the hole. You guys, I am so excited that we are actually done with this dress. So the next thing that's left for us is to hem the bottom. So I am going to fold half an inch twice, and then I'm going to sew all around the dress. And then when you're done, guys, don't forget to press iron your dress so that it can look nice and neat, and cut out all the hanging threads. And I'll show you the final results. I can't wait for you guys to see it.